Hello. Now, after having dealt with aestheticism and decadence, after explaining the idea of art for art's sake and explaining the social figure of the dandy, we are going to deal with Oscar Wilde, who was the most important British representative, the most important British representative of art for art's sake, and he was a dandy himself, a very eccentric and elegant person. We can say that he transformed his life into a work of art. His house was a collection of beautiful artistic objects, like the house of Gabriele D'Annunzio that you can still visit today. Oscar Wilde, page 124. Life and works. Oscar Wilde, the son of a surgeon, figlio di un chirurgo, and of an ambitious literary woman e di una ambiziosa donna di lettere, was born in Dublin in 1854. After attending Trinity College in his home city, quindi dopo essere andato all'Università di Dublino, che sarebbe Trinity College, he was sent to Oxford. Fu mandato a Oxford, where he gained a first-class degree in classics, quindi dove ebbe una brillante laurea in letterature classiche, and distinguished himself for his eccentricity, e dove si era distinto per la sua eccentricità. He was influenced by the art critic John Ruskin, fu influenzato dal critico d'arte John Ruskin, quindi anche dal movimento dei preraffaelliti precedente, and became a disciple of Walter Pater, divenne discepolo di Walter Pater. Remember, Walter Pater was the theorist in England of aestheticism and art for art's sake. Accepting the theory of art for art's sake, quindi accettando la teoria dell'arte per l'arte. After graduating in 1878, dopo essersi laureato, he moved to London, where he soon became a celebrity, dove presto divenne una celebrità for his extraordinary wit, per il suo spirito straordinario, and his characteristic style of dress, e il suo caratteristico modo di vestire, as a dandy, quindi come dandy, una persona elegante ed eccentrica. In 1881 Wilde published at his own expense, quindi pubblicò a sue proprie spese, a collection called Poems, quindi una collezione di poesie, and was invited to undertake a speaking tour in the United States, e fu invitato a fare una tournée con delle conferenze negli Stati Uniti. His lectures amazed the American audiences. Le sue conferenze sorprendevano il pubblico americano. On his arrival in New York, al suo arrivo a New York, he told reporters, disse ai giornalisti, that aestheticism was a search for the beautiful. Quindi l'estetismo era una ricerca della bellezza. Remember Keats, for whom beauty was the most important thing in art, in his poetry. A science through which men looked for the relationship, una scienza attraverso la quale gli uomini cercavano la relazione between painting, tra la pittura, sculpture, la scultura, and poetry, e la poesia, which were simply different forms of the same truth, che erano semplicemente delle forme diverse della stessa verità. The tour was a great success, quindi questa tournée ebbe un grande successo for Wilde, who became famous for his irony, che divenne famoso per la sua ironia, his attitudes and his posing, i suoi atteggiamenti e le sue pose. On his return to Europe, di ritorno in Europa, in 1883, he married Constance Lloyd, who bore him 2 children, quindi gli diede 2 figli. At this point in his career, he was most noted as a great speaker. A questo punto nella sua carriera lui fu notato come un grande oratore. His presence became a social event. La sua presenza diventava un evento sociale, and his remarks e le sue riflessioni appeared in the most fashionable London magazines. Le sue riflessioni apparivano nelle riviste più alla moda di Londra. In the late 1880s, alla fine degli anni 80, Wilde's literary talent was revealed by a series of short stories, quindi il suo talento letterario fu rivelato da una serie di brevi racconti. The Canterville Ghost, appunto il fantasma di Canterville, Lord Arthur Saville's Crime, The Happy Prince and Other Tales e altri racconti, written for his children, scritti per i suoi figli, and the novel The Picture of Dorian Gray, il ritratto appunto di Dorian Gray, 1891. After his first and only novel, dopo il suo primo e unico romanzo, he developed an interest in drama, sviluppò un interesse per il teatro, and revived the comedy of manners, e diede vita di nuovo alla commedia di costume. In the late 1890s, che sarebbero praticamente delle commedie che criticavano la upper middle class. In the late 1890s he produced a series of plays, quindi alla fine degli anni 90 produsse una serie di opere teatrali which were successful on the London stage, che ebbero molto successo nei teatri di Londra. Lady Windermere's Fan, il ventaglio di Lady Windermere, 1892, A Woman of No Importance, una donna di nessuna importanza, 1893, An Ideal Husband, il marito ideale, 1895, and his masterpiece, il suo capolavoro, The Importance of Being Earnest, che si può tradurre l'importanza di essere onesto, ma anche l'importanza di chiamarsi Ernesto. In fact, there is a pun, c'è un gioco di parole in the title of this play. 1895. However, tuttavia, both the novel, sia il romanzo, and Salome, 1893, Salome was also illustrated by Aubrey Beardsley, a tragedy written in French, tragedia scritta in francese, damaged the writer's reputation, quindi danneggiarono la reputazione dello scrittore. The former was considered immoral, quindi questa tragedia fu considerata immorale, and the latter, e il secondo, was prevented from being performed on the London stage. Il secondo sarebbe Salomè, fu considerata immorale, e the importance of being earnest, quindi ne fu impedita la rappresentazione on the London stage, sui palcoscenici di Londra, due to its presumed obscenity, visto la sua presunta oscenità. Oscar Wilde's years of triumph ended dramatically, quindi gli anni di trionfo si chiusero drammaticamente when in 1891, quando his intimate association, la sua associazione with the young poet, con il giovane poeta Lord Alfred Douglas Bosie, soprannominato, led to his trial, lo portò quindi in tribunale on charges of homosexuality, per omosessualità, then illegal in Britain, allora illegale in Gran Bretagna. Homosexuals, in fact, were persecuted by the law in those days. He was sentenced to 2 years hard labor, ebbe una condanna a 2 anni di lavori forzati. While in prison, mentre era in prigione, he wrote De Profundis, a long letter to Bosie, una lunga lettera al suo amico Bosie, which was published posthumously, pubblicata postuma in 1905. When he was released, quando fu liberato, he was a broken man, era un uomo distrutto. His wife refused to see him and he went into exile in France, quindi andò in esilio in Francia, where he lived out his last years in poverty, dove visse i suoi ultimi anni in povertà. The Ballad of Reading Jail, la ballata della prigione di Reading, originally published under his prison identity, originariamente pubblicata con la sua identità di carcerato, C33 was his last published work, fu l'ultimo lavoro pubblicato before he died of meningitis in 1900, prima di morire di meningite, in a hotel in Paris. So, I mean, he ended up, he had a very brilliant life, but his life ended up in quite a miserable way. The Rebel and the Dandy. Wilde adopted the aesthetic ideal, quindi adottò l'ideale dell'estetismo, as he affirmed in one of his famous conversations, come affermava in una delle sue conversazioni famose. My life is like a work of art. La mia vita è un'opera d'arte. È come un'opera d'arte, that is to say, a collection of beautiful sensations. He lived the double role of rebel and dandy, quindi visse il doppio ruolo di ribelle e di dandy. Wilde's dandy is an aristocrat whose elegance is a symbol of the superiority of his spirit, quindi lui è un dandy, un aristocratico, la cui eleganza è un simbolo della superiorità del suo spirito. He uses his wit, usa la sua spiritosaggine, to shock, per scioccare gli altri, and he is an individual who demands absolute freedom, e è un individuo che chiede una assoluta libertà. Since life was meant for pleasure, dato che la vita aveva come scopo il piacere, and pleasure was an indulgence in the beautiful, e che il piacere era un'indulgenza verso il bello, Wilde's interest in beauty, l'interesse di Wilde nella bellezza, clothes, gli abiti, words, le parole, o physical beauty o la bellezza fisica, had no moral stance, quindi l'arte non aveva nessuno scopo morale. In the preface, nella prefazione di Dorian Gray, to his novel, he affirmed, there is no such thing as a moral or an immoral book. Non esistono libri morali o immorali. Books are well written or badly written. I libri possono essere bene scritti oppure scritti male. That is all. Ecco tutto. In this way he rejected the didacticism. In questo modo lui respinse, diciamo, lo scopo didattico that had characterized the Victorian novel, quindi lo scopo didattico che aveva caratterizzato il romanzo vittoriano. Of course, Dickens is an example, in the first half of the century, nella prima metà del secolo. Okay, so we shall also see other things about Oscar Wilde, and then we shall start the picture of Dorian Gray in the next video. Okay, goodbye, and study please. Watch the videos.